sick, he calmed the storm. He saw 5,000, he fed them all. He raised the dead, he cured the blind, drove out the legion, restored a mind. He is the hero that we need, a man with power. He's the Son of God, you know his name. He brought good news, he taught the crowds, lifted the humble, rebuked the proud. He told the truth, he never lied, was always righteous before all eyes. He is the hero that we need, a man of justice. He's the Son of God, and you know his name. Jesus, you're the hero, you're the only one who saves. Jesus, you're the hero, there is power in your name. They saw his life, they heard him speak, they saw the signs but would not believe. They chose to hate, they chose to kill. He was rejected, forgave him still. He is the hero that we need, a man of sorrows. He's the Son of God, you know his name. Jesus, you're the hero, you're the only one who saves. Jesus, you're the hero, there is power in your name. Jesus, you're the hero, you're the only one who saves. Jesus, you're the hero, there is power in your name. When Jesus came to town, they He is the hero that we need, a man of sorrows. He's the Son of God, and you know his name. Jesus, you're the hero, you're the only one who saves. Jesus, you're the hero, there is power in your Jesus. You're the hero, you're the only one who saves. Jesus, you're the hero, there is power in your name.
Yours is the greatness, yours is the power, yours is the victory. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the majesty. Oh, you
you know where you went skiing? No, at a ski hill. All right, well, thanks for sharing, you guys. So we have a Bible study that we're going to be looking at today. And first, we're going to do a little bit of review, okay, for what we've been doing last week. Do you guys remember what story we looked at last week? Yeah.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve was a couple weeks ago. What did we look at just this last week? Yeah.
Adam and Eve's baby boys.
Yes. Do you guys remember their names? Jace.
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel, yes. And so what happened is kind of a sad story. What happened with Cain and Abel?
Cain and Abel sacrificed food and an animal, and the one with the animal got the sacrifice, and the other one was so mad that he killed his brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Emmerich, did you have a thought on that as well?
I was going to say that Cain was a farmer.
Yeah.
Well, and Abel was, wait, did I get them wrong?
I think you might have swapped them, yeah.
Yeah, next one. Okay, and so, wait a minute. Okay, I think I got confused with the name.
Hey, that is all good. So Cain and Abel, right? And so Cain and Abel each gave an offering to God, and God was pleased with Abel's offering, but wasn't pleased with Cain's. Do you know why God wasn't pleased with Cain's offering? Yeah.
Because Cain didn't believe in Jesus that much, like he wasn't grateful to Jesus.
Yep. He didn't have a good heart towards God, right? He gave kind of like maybe like an okay offering, and so it wasn't like his best. And in that action, he didn't honor God, right? And that's going to be connected to this question. What does it mean to sin? Does anyone know what it means to sin? Yeah.
It means to do something bad that you can't do and you know it's not right.
Yep, that's a really good definition. Any other thoughts on that?
Me?
Yeah.
It's to do the exact opposite of what God wants.
Exactly. So at the root of it, it's like rebellion against God. It's saying, God, I don't want to listen to you. I want to do this my own way. And we see that with Adam and Eve, right? Eating a fruit from a tree isn't a bad thing, right? We do that, and God's given us wonderful trees to enjoy and eat from. But what made the sin in the garden a big deal was because God said to not to. And so when Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they not only disobeyed God, but they basically were telling him, no, this is my way over your way. And that's what sin is. So here's the definition on here. To sin is to think, speak, or behave in any way that goes against God and his commands. All right, so we're going to be building a little bit on that today, and we're going to be looking at the story of Noah and the ark. You guys heard that story?
Yeah.
Okay, so first we're going to watch a video, and then we're going to run through it and look at it in a little more detail. Okay? All right.
I love the story Noah's Ark.
Oh, me too.
Adam and Eve had many children and grandchildren. Their grandchildren had children and grandchildren, and people began to fill the earth. God looked at all the people on earth and saw that they were choosing to sin more and more. Every person's thoughts were evil. And God was sad that he made people. God decided to send a flood to destroy all the creatures on the earth. But God showed favor to a man named Noah. Noah was a righteous man. He followed God. God warned Noah about the flood. He told Noah to make an ark to save himself, his family, and all kinds of animals. God told Noah exactly how to make the ark, and he said that he would make an agreement, or covenant, with Noah and his family. Noah did everything that God commanded. When the ark was finished, Noah went inside with his family and the animals, and God shut the door. The rain started and water rose from the ground. Now the ark floated on top of the water. The water rose higher and higher, until all of the mountains were covered. Everyone inside the ark was safe. Finally, after 40 days and 40 nights, the rain stopped and the water started to go down. Noah waited inside the ark until the ground was dry. Then God told Noah to bring all the people and animals out of the ark. So Noah did. Noah built an altar and gave an offering to the Lord. God promised to never completely flood the earth again. God told Noah and his family to spread out over the earth and fill it with people. God placed a rainbow in the sky as a special sign of the covenant that he made with Noah. Every time Noah and his family saw the rainbow, they would know God remembered his promise that he had made with all the living creatures on the earth. God rescued Noah and his family from the flood. The story of Noah points ahead to a greater rescue. God's Son, Jesus, the only perfect righteous one, came to take the punishment for our sin. By trusting in him, we are saved from the punishment our sin deserves.
Awesome. That's a pretty cool story, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you heard that story before? Yeah, a lot of you are familiar with it. It's kind of a really popular story. Why do you think it's really popular? Yeah, Emery.
Well, because without Noah, then the entire world would be plants.
Just plants. No humans.
No humans.
No humans. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of popular because it shows how Jesus loves us and he gives us a way to be saved.
Exactly. 50 gold stars for you. That's amazing. And that's exactly what the story is about. It's about God providing a way of salvation, right? And that's what the whole Bible tells us about, is God providing salvation in different ways. So I need you guys to help me tell the story, okay? So we're going to start from the beginning, and we're not going to look at every verse, but we're going to look at some different parts and how they connect. And I need you guys to answer some questions that I have, okay? Does that sound good? You guys can help me with that? All right, so what do we know about Noah? What's the first thing that the Bible kind of tells us about Noah? Sebastian.
That he believes in God.
He believes in God. Yes, so it says here that Noah was a righteous man, that he was blameless in his generation, that Noah walked with God. What do you think the word blameless means? Yeah, Jace.
He didn't blame people.
He didn't blame people? That's probably part of it. Emmerich, did you have your hand up? Okay, Amelia.
Blameless means that he doesn't have any fault against God.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that he's completely sinless. It doesn't mean that he's never done anything bad, but it means that he seeks God. And in the generation that Noah lived in, that was a rare thing. What does the Bible tell us about the world during that time? Does anyone know? Emmerich?
Everybody sinned.
Everyone sinned. Yeah, so I'm going to read this to you.
Everybody sins, but some people believe in God and ask for forgiveness, while others sin.
Yeah.
Sin and no forgiveness.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
We know the quantity of all humans and everyone sinned.
Everyone sinned. Yeah, this is what the Bible says. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. All right, so this started with Adam and Eve and how they rebelled against God, and Cain and how he killed his brother. And this pattern is carrying through of people not living how God wanted them to live, and living with selfish desires. And that's where all this violence was coming from. So God says to Noah, look, I'm going to set up a covenant with you. I'm going to promise to keep you safe, but I'm going to destroy everyone else because of their wickedness. So in this, we see that God really cares about how people live, right? He doesn't like it when people turn away against him. and choose to live in a way of rebellion to him. Right? So God tells Noah that he is going to destroy the earth and all that lives on it. So what does God tell Noah to do? Yeah.
He tells him to build an ark.
To build an ark.
So he could be safe with his family and all the animals.
Yeah, exactly. Dave, do you want to show that picture of the ark? Okay, I found a picture of the ark, and this was, this is like not the actual ark, but this is what someone built. Not a bunch of people built this, and it's a life-size picture. Okay, so that is kind of what the ark would have looked like. All right. Does anyone know how long the ark was? Amelia?
38 cubits?
No, it's actually 300 cubits. Okay? 300 cubits. You guys know how long that would be in feet?
Oh.
Any idea? Yeah, guess how many feet?
Very long.
What's that?
Very, 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 very long.
Yeah, very long. Can you guys imagine a football field? Okay, you guys know what a football field looks like, kind of? Maybe you've been to a football game, maybe you've seen it on TV. A football field is about 350 feet long, okay? And the ark was 450 feet long. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's about 100 feet longer than the average football field. And so that's kind of, you get the picture of it right there. So it's this massive boat. And what does God tell Adam to put on the boat? Yeah, at Noah. I said Adam. I meant Noah. Yeah.
His family and 2 of every animal.
Yeah, 2 of every animal and his family. Right. Exactly. So God tells Noah to build this ark. And so far, he's just building an ark. Okay? Just out in the open. How would you feel if you drove by a field and there was someone just building this big boat and there wasn't any water in sight? Would that be a little weird?
Yes.
To imagine, you'd be like, what is going on, right? But Noah trusted God, and he had faith. And God told him to build a boat, and he did, right? And he believed what God said. So Noah builds this boat, and the rains start coming, all right? And Noah's pretty old at this time. He's 600 years old when the rain starts coming, right? So he's an old man, okay? That doesn't necessarily apply to this story directly, but I just thought it was kind of crazy that he was 600 years old. All right? So the rains start coming, and how long do the rains last? Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're saying. Well, I'm pretty sure that actually people do build boats on near water, and then they just push it into the water.
Yeah, that's true. Back in that day, they wouldn't, like, I just think it would have been weird. Like, he wouldn't have been anywhere near a body of water, right? He's clearly not going for a leisurely cruise on this boat, right? Yeah. For 3 days? It was actually, it says in verse 12 here, it says, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Right? 40 days and 40 nights.
That's a lot.
Yes. And so Noah and his family are safe in the ark that God told them to build with the animals. And they're floating around until the rains come down. And then God establishes a covenant or a special promise with Noah. Do you guys know what that promise was? Yeah.
He will put a rainbow in the sky.
He'll put a rainbow, but what would the rainbow signify? Yeah.
He would never flood the earth again completely.
Exactly. He would never destroy the earth like that again, right? He would never flood the earth. And you already said it, but what was the sign that God said to kind of show his promise? Yeah.
The rainbow.
The rainbow. Absolutely, right? So when we see a rainbow, we're reminded of God's promise to Noah, right? So that's kind of the story, right? Does anyone know, obviously we see that God provided salvation for Noah, but what does that point us to? How can we relate to that story? Yes.
By obeying God.
By obeying God. That's a great way. Absolutely. Anybody else? Yeah. Sebastian.
God.
Praying to God. Yeah.
Trusting God?
Trusting God. Absolutely. Those are great things. One thing that popped into my mind was obeying God even if the people around you don't. Right? Sometimes as Christians we can feel like the odd one out. Right? Maybe you're in a setting, maybe at school, and you're like the only Christian in your class. Right? But it's still a really important thing to do, to obey God, even if the people around you don't, because you know that He has the power to do things, and that He has the power to keep you safe, and that trusting God is the right thing to do. Anything else? What does the ark specifically point us to? Right, it said at the end of the video. I don't know if you guys caught it. What does it point us to? Yeah.
That God will take the punishment for us?
Yeah. That's exactly. It points to Jesus, right? So Jesus is the only way to be saved. What was the only way to be saved for Noah?
By going into the ark.
By going into the ark, right? And that provided him protection and a covering over him and his family, right? So they wouldn't be hurt by God's judgment on the earth, right? In the same way, we are safe from God's judgment, God's dealing with sin, by trusting in Jesus, all right? Because God's going to do the same thing. At the end of this world, He's going to judge the earth, right? And He's going to deal with sin in a similar way to how He dealt with sin in Noah's day. And the only people that are kept safe from that are the people that find protection in Jesus. Does that make sense? Right? And it's very interesting that God provides that, right? So he's just and He takes care of sin, but He also provides a way to be safe. And it's through His mercy that He does that. So when you read the story of Noah, you can read it like, oh, that's a cool story that happened. Absolutely. But you can also look at it and say, wow, the ark tells us about Jesus and how He protects us. And we can follow Noah's example by obeying God and finding protection in Jesus. Does that make sense? Awesome. So that's where we're going to stop today. Yeah, I think we got some songs.